Hi there and welcome to our February edition of the Redden District Fisheries Feedback. It's been a pretty wet month, and I have to say, looking through the gallery of pictures that we will be putting up later, I was surprised just how many fish our members have caught in incredibly challenging situations. So we'll be featuring those later. As you can see, we're now in our fully opened Kennet hatchery. Very, very pleased with the way that's gone and the amount of local support. And again, Dell will be telling us a bit more about that. And of course, our usual features. We've got lots of news, lots of announcements for you this month, and obviously the fishing picture of the month and the February entry for the Fish of the Year competition. So let's get on with it. Okay, Dell, fisheries report. I mean, the fisheries have been coming to us, haven't they? There's more water in the road than in the lakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've probably got more chance of catching them than King Perch up the Cottage Lane or whatever at the minute. It's horrendous. And for us, you know, there's not a lot we can do. We've got a list of stuff to do as long as your arms. We've got, you know, trees down, we've got banks washed away, we've got bars washed away, we've got all sorts of stuff, none of which we can get on and do. I mean, we've been, obviously there's the hatchery sort of side of things, so we've been concentrating on that, but other than that, it's just servicing. That's what we've been servicing, all our kit and that sort of stuff, and just keeping a general eye on things. But, you know, as far as sort of physical work, when it's like this, you just end up making more mess than you know, you're trying to tidy up.
Well, I mean, talking of mess, Wiley's, of course, is a disaster zone at the moment, and of course not just the Reading water up there at Lower Waith Attemps. I mean, all the Newbury waters and those.
I think they're
virtually all joined together, aren't they?
Yeah. I think they're suffering exactly the same way. I mean, Wiley's. Wow. I mean, there's literally a tsunami's been through there, and of course it was timed perfectly for when we took all the trees down. So now all these trees are sort of bobbing around in the lake, and it's just horrendous. So, you know, we've had to shut it. I'm always dead against sort of shutting our fisheries, even if they are in a bit of a state, but this is just, you know, it's just too bad. So,
but the plan is still there. We will clear up. We will clear up the mess, and we will build an off
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to take a little bit longer. You know, the whole idea is that we're going to sort of regenerate it, if you like. It's been left a little bit, to be honest, Wiley's. So it's long overdue. So yeah, it's just going to take a little bit longer, but it's completely pointless. Well, to be honest, you can't even get to it at the minute. It's got 3 foot of water all around it. So, you know.
Talking of floodwater, I guess you and Jim haven't had a chance to get the cameras under the offending culvert on the Green Park Railway line. We almost proved that point, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we almost got there. I mean, we were literally a couple of days away from being able to get to it, and then this latest lot of rain came down, and you know, we haven't got anywhere near it again. We've done a little bit of work in the background, and you know, just to bolster our argument, if you like. But the final, the damning thing will be when we get, you know, we can manage to actually get a camera down there and show them that this culvert's blocked.
Well, I mean, we're filming now on Monday, March the 4th. We've got a red flood warning in for the Lower Kennet Valley.
Yep.
Put a picture up here of Wilmot's completely flooded again, and the water's now starting to come backwards, just like it did last time. And so instead of flowing out of Flint into Wilmot's and then under the railway line, it's now banging backwards and starting to raise the levels, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, are you worried the hut's going to be overrun, or do you think it's not so bad?
I don't think it's quite as bad as it was sort of 6 weeks ago. I think we should see any time soon it's sort of starting to sort of peak and then sort of subside. We haven't got a great deal of rain forecast for the next week now, so you know, it should start returning back to, you know, how it was a week ago. But you know, we're just at this stage now where we only need a small amount of rain and it tops it all back up again. You know, we need 3 or 4 weeks of no rain.
We certainly need that, and later on Jim and I are going to be talking through how to read the river gauges to actually find somewhere fishable in these challenging conditions. But let's talk about something positive now. The hatchery opening was on February the 16th. I mean, I don't think that opening and the reaction we've had from the clubs up and down the Kennet Valley could have been much better. I mean, we've had a huge amount of support, haven't we?
Yeah, I've been genuinely blown away with the support that we've got. look, this was always a bit of a wing and a prayer in my head, and I knew that people would be excited by it, but to see the level of support both from our members, other members of other clubs along the river, and from sort of like the industry, if you like, I've been absolutely blown away with it. You know, everybody is behind it. I think I've heard one negative comment on it.
That's not bad for an angler, for anglers, is it?
No, exactly. Obviously, it sets us up for a fall, you know, because it's not all going to go that way, and at some point, you know, things are going to go wrong. But yeah, I've been absolutely blown away with it. You know, it's surpassed anything that I thought we'd get as far as support goes.
Well, thanks to everybody out there who has donated. The people have been very generous, putting their hands in their pockets, and obviously the clubs, particularly Civil Service, Newbury, Calpac, they've all come on side. They've all made substantial donations, and you know, at the moment we've got a reasonably healthy situation for our running costs. But you know, we need to keep money in the bank because it's going to cost what, £5,000 a year to run?
Yeah, I mean, I think our burn rate's going to be between sort of £5,000 and £7,000 a year, and that's if nothing goes wrong. You know, if we get a couple of leaks in some of these tanks, you know, I mean, there's £3,000 worth of tank there, you know. Yeah. So, you know, we can't take our foot off the gas, if you like. We've got to build up a substantial amount. I mean, the grand opening, for instance, I mean, we had the grand opening on the Friday. By 10 o'clock on the Saturday morning, we'd covered 3/4 of a year's running cost in donations. I was just absolutely blown away. And you know, the guys, we've been having these open days on a Saturday, and I've just literally counted the money. We've had what was that, 7 sessions so far, where I bore everyone to death for an hour, and people have put their hand in the pocket to the tune of £350
Yeah.
You know, and
that's just in the tin.
That's just in the tin. Yeah. You know, so you know, it's great. I've been blown away with it.
Well, again, thanks very much. And finally, really, in this section, just to remind everybody of the Fisheries Forum. This is something now we've been running for the last 4 years. Opportunity to ask Dell and I and the other members of the team any questions you like. Obviously, there'll be full reports on our fisheries and on our hatchery and other programmes. This year, we've got a guest speaker just to liven things up a bit, James Dennison, a very, very successful barbel angler. He's got this mad challenge to catch 40 double-figure barbel from 40 rivers. I think he's up to 23.
I didn't even realise there was 40 rivers in the country, to be honest.
Well, with barbel. Well, James, I think, caught his Kennet barbel on his first trip. So he definitely owes us a favour. So yeah, he's a good speaker. It'll be a good little talk, and it'll be a good night. So that's put the details up here. Thursday, 21st of March at Bradfield Cricket Club. Starts at 7:30. Bar open, and all members are welcome. So we hope for a good turnout.
Yeah, and it's a good night. You know, you get to learn a little bit about what goes on, perhaps behind the scenes that people don't really realise happens. Mm-hmm. You know, because you know, none of this sort of stuff just happens.
No, it's not magic.
No.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Dale. Let's roll the gallery for the February fishing picture competition. Right, Dale. Well, considering the awful weather conditions, you've got to give some credit to people for posting up any pictures.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're mad or brave, or both, to be honest. But
well, I was looking through them, and I was really pleased in some ways with the kind of mixture there. I mean, we started off there with Terry Burks. He used his exchange ticket, went down to Blackwater, pulled out a nice perch. When everywhere else was flooded. So
exactly why we got them.
Exactly, and then nice to see Wilmot's being used in that milder period during February with the kids getting those lovely fish.
I mean, school holidays, there was a lot of people over there.
Yeah, which is excellent. Obviously, the Pike boys had a good go. Inevitably, a few big barbel came out, which was good to see, and one or two Thames chub. That was very difficult chub conditions.
Yeah.
But I think it was a big perch that took your mind, wasn't it?
Yes. And I'll apologise now. Daniel Zavizlak, I think that's how you spell it.
And is that the one going to win the prize this month?
Yeah. I mean, again, like I say, this is a photo competition. It's not necessarily a big fish competition, and that's just a cracking photo. And it's nice to see that he's not doing anything unscrupulous to get the fish to have its dorsal fin stood up, like a lot of these so-called celebrity anglers do. But it's just a nice photo, and it's a cracking fish without a doubt.
He did well. Well, congratulations, Daniel. So let us know whether you want the what the three options.
Well, we've got a carp pack, no, I wouldn't have thought so, or coarse fishing pack, and that's courtesy of Rod Hutchinson Bait and Tackle. It's worth having, even if you're a lure angler, because you never know, you might go out and want to try something else. So let us know what you want, Daniel, via Messenger or something or other. We'll get it into the hut, and of course your Redden District cap to go with it.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Daniel. And now something that is a big fish competition, and just to remind people that the voting is still open for the 2003 Fish of the Year competition. We've obviously got the 12 entries. You've had them all over Facebook. We'll put the gallery up here again. Voting closes on March the 14th, and then we'll be presenting the prize to the eventual winner at the Fisheries Forum on the 21st. But of course, we're looking now at entries for the month of February 2024, and we've had two exceptional river fish that have come in. First of all, Adam Bass with his 15 pounds 2 ounce Kennet barbel. Apparently, Dell, it was a fish he caught as an upper 12 back in July, which shows,
just how much they get.
2.5 pounds difference in weight between July and February.
Yeah, fair play.
And then the other fish, exceptional fish from the Thames, Sean Millard, 7.7 chub. Very difficult to decide between the two, but in the end, Del, I decided, and I think you agree, that the chub just shades it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, how do you pick between those two? So you've got to go back to our original sort of qualification for all this, and it's percentage of the record, and by that, the chub just about gets there ahead of the barbel. But I mean, to be fair, any other month, you've got two winners there.
Well, there aren't many clubs in the country where a 15-pound barbel wouldn't win.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So look, congratulations and commiserations to Adam. Congratulations on the fish, and double congratulations to Sean Millard on an absolutely fabulous Thames chub at £7.7. You win the Angling Direct 50 quid tackle voucher, so we'll get in touch to do the handover. A nice little trophy, and obviously you'll go in the hat for the big prize next year. And what's even better is apparently Sean called it on my cheese paste recipe that we featured on one of these videos.
I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Well, perhaps he was just trying to make me feel kind.
Yeah, he's angling for a prize, and it worked.
I tell you what, that cheese paste works for chub. Okay, well done everyone. Jim, before we get onto your fishing prospects, understandably we get quite a lot of inquiries on whether various river sections are going to be fishable. Do you think it would be worth us just taking people through the way we use the river gauges so that people can avoid wasted journeys to our trips?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. From what I sort of see, some of these sort of sites can be quite confusing. As the first time you go on there, you get sort of bombarded with so many different places and that. But once you've actually been on there a couple of times and you've sort of got to gist of it, of the certain places you want to be looking at, once you've been on there a few times, it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, as you say, you can get onto these sites, and before you've even stepped foot out the front door, you can look at these river conditions from the comfort of your living room. So
and I think once you know what to look for at certain points, rivers become fishable or unfishable, you can avoid a wasted journey.
Exactly that, yeah.
As we're about to find out, I'm not very technically adept, but if I can use this technology on my iPad and my iPhone, then almost anybody can.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the basics. The Thames catchment. Water flows downhill. That's the kind of first thing. So it's going to be coming from up in the Cotswolds, up in the headwaters of the Loddon and the Kennet. And so put up a map here of the Thames catchment. We've got the Kennet obviously to the west and its tributaries. We've got the Loddon coming in from the south and its tributaries. And then very importantly, to work out whether our stretches of the river around between Oxford and Reading are going to be fishable, you also need to be aware of what's happening in these really important Thames tributaries further upstream, the Tame, the Cherwell, the Windrush, the Evenlode, because what's happening in those tribs is clearly going to affect them.
Yeah, massive impact, yeah.
So that's the first thing. So let's just move on specifically, say, to the Loddon catchment. It's a spate river, it's not a chalk stream, which means it comes up and floods much quicker. But of course the Loddon's quite interesting because the left hand, the western end of the Loddon, does rise in the chalk. And that's the bit that goes through Stratfield Say. But then you've got the right-hand spur here, the River Blackwater. That's a very, very spatey river. As we know, Jim, that can rise, it's only and fall within 24 hours.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So it's a place to be and this is the thing we're sort of here explaining to you guys, is that this is the sort of place where when you've looked on your maps for the morning, you fancy a day's fishing, that you can go on and go, the River Blackwater's dropped overnight, so it gives you that chance to get down there with actually outgoing travelling.
Yeah,
it's easy as that.
Blackwater can be dropping when the main Thames is rising.
Yeah, exactly that.
And of course the other tributary of the Loddon is the Whitewater, which is actually a chalk stream, and that behaves totally differently. I mean, unfortunately we haven't got any fishing on that. And then of course our stretch is further down. So looking at what's happening to the tributaries, very, very important.
Yeah.
And a Loddon in particular, you need to catch it right.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so let's look at the Kennet. Kennet's a bit more predictable. It's a chalk stream for the bulk of its route, certainly all the way down to the confluence of the Embourne. Now the Embourne comes in at Aldermaston, and the Embourne, as you know, as a fishery officer, brings a lot more colour into the river than you'll necessarily get from these other little tributaries further upstream, like the Lambourne and the Dun.
Yep.
So, I mean, they're pure chalk.
Yeah, straight coming off the chalk, nice clean fresh water. But as you say, as soon as you get down to the Embourne and that, you're getting a lot of more sediment coming in, so the water quality changes massively the further you get down the Kennet system.
And that of course affects the coloration in the canal as well. So the canal upstream, because the canal flows in and out of the Kennet, as we know, from Hampstead Marshall downstream, so the canal is going to be a lot more coloured below where the Embourne comes in than above where the Embourne comes in.
Certainly is, yeah.
In terms of the system. So that's basically the looking at the Thames, looking at the Loddon, and looking at the Kennet, and looking at those trips. So let's just move on to the gauges that people need to be aware about, and I would strongly recommend bookmarking and putting on the home screen.
Yeah.
So the first one and the most obvious one to have up is this one here, the Environment Agency one. It's not an app, but you can bookmark it. So if you just go onto the gov.uk and type in check for flooding and river levels, you can put in any river you want, and then you can save those particular gauges. So just for the sake of argument, let's put the Kennet in, because we are Reading District. Push the search button there, Kennet comes up, River Kennet again. See that, I can use computers. There aren't that many gauges on the Kennet, but obviously the ones that interest us are what's happening at Newbury, and I usually say that one, and obviously what's happening down at Calcott. And as you can see, today, March the 4th, it was heading into the flood zone, just starting to drop off now.
Yep.
And that's what's happening to the Kennet. So we can probably predict that the Kennet in 2 or 3 days' time is going to be a lot calmer and fishing we've got some decent fishing potential. Yeah,
certainly is. Yep.
But then, of course, you might want to look at other rivers around the system, and I'm giving away my fishing secrets here. Let's have a look, for example, at what's happening to the Loddon now. So I keep the gauge there at Arborfield Bridge. Now, you don't really want to be fishing the Loddon much above 0.8.
Yeah.
So I would say at this stage, the Loddon is not really worth. This is probably not even for barbel, certainly not for chub.
Yep.
But what's the Loddon going to be like, say, in 2 or 3 days' time when I've got a day's fishing? Well, again, we come back to the old tributaries. What are the tributaries doing? So let's have a look at the Blackwater, because that's the thing that impacts on the Loddon a lot. Look at the Blackwater. Look, see how that's dropped off?
Yeah, a massive drop there.
As you were saying, Jim, it's very quick to rise, the Blackwater, but very quick to fall.
Yeah.
So it's fishable from about 1.4, 1.2 down on the Blackwater?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, anywhere around sort of that 1.2 to 1.4 is really good conditions to be out on the Blackwater.
So really, tomorrow the Blackwater is probably, the Loddon won't be, but the Blackwater is likely to be fishable.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
somewhere up on the Blackwater there'll be a good day's fishing to be had.
Okay, so let's take this through to the Thames. So we're going to be slightly concerned at the moment about the Thames. It's going to be pretty high. So let's just pick. Let's have a look at the Thames that's down this way, somewhere near us. Benson. Okay, here's Benson. So it's over the flood level. She is dropping off.
Yep.
Let's say I'm planning a trip this weekend. I want to know about the Thames. What's she likely to be doing? Well, a good thing to do is to check the tribs. So this is why I put in the River Tame. So upstream at Wallingford is the River Tame, Little Spate River. What's the Tame doing? Oh dear, the Tame was dropping. That last bit of rain put the Tame
Now it's
up.
rising again. Yep.
Not desperate though, not desperate. And you don't just have to rely on the Tame. We could have a check. Let's have a check for one of the other tribs. Let's have a look at the even load. If you can spot it before me with your young eyes, that would be good. Even load at
That
Shipton.
one
There
there.
we go. Now, that's the tributary upstream of the Thames. See? Even load's starting to drop. So I reckon 4 or 5 days' time,
The Thames will be getting there.
yeah, should be
Certainly
getting
will.
there.
Yeah.
So very, very easy to do. It's just a question of understanding how the tributaries relate to the main river, having the technology, having it saved conveniently on your iPhone or on your iPad. But whilst all other rivers in the country are very, very dependent on river levels, the Thames has got one other factor, and that is it's a very, very heavily managed waterway.
Yep.
So it's also about flow. But the technology won't let us down, because there is this wonderful little thing called the Shoot Hill Gauge Map.
Yeah.
So again, not an app, but so just Google Shoot Hill Gauge Map and up it'll come, and then save it. And there are 3 flow gauges, and I'll show you this one at Sutton Courtenay, which is upstream of Wallingford. So it gives you the level, as you can see there, Jim, just in the flood zone, yeah? But look, it gives you flow at cubic metres per second. And what can really ruin a day's fishing on the Thames is when they throw open the lock gates.
Exactly that.
So you're
yep.
looking for them to shut. Now, you really want this figure down below about 80.
Yes,
preferably 70 or 60. But it's moving in the right direction. But there are a range of other flow gauges that you can get on the Thames. One's at Farmore, which is very useful for our stretch at Northmore, and the other one's down at Reading.
Yes.
So there are 3 flow gauges: Sutton Courtenay, Reading, and Farmore. Again, you just type them into the browser here. I'll just do it. I'll tell you what's going on, so we can see what's happening at Farmore. So this is the speed of the river, because there's not a lot of point in getting to a river that's the right height, but actually unfishable. So Farmore's been dropping, and as you can see, unfortunately, up to 63, really needs to be around between 30 and 40.
Yeah, certainly does, yep.
Yeah, pushing through too far. So I think that really concludes all that people need to know. I mean, there are other gauges about temperature and all the rest of it, but what you've got there is the ability to know how high your river is and how fast it's flowing.
Yep.
And I'd like to think that would help people avoid a wasted day and
yeah, certainly
more
will.
fish on the bank.
Yeah, and another thing for future purposes, if you've sort of looked at these gauges before you've gone fishing, and you've seen that the Thames is at a flow of sort of 65 to 70 that day, and you've had an exceptional day's fishing, well, keep that one pinned in your head, because next season, when you're there and you're debating that couple of days you've got off work and you want to go fishing, if you know that Thames is around 60 to 70, then you know they are the times to be out there. And yeah, it can basically just give you that little bit of an edge before you get in there. And again, I look at the Thames gauges all the time, and I can take one look at the gauge and know if I'm going to have a good day's fishing or not. So yeah, get that into your heads and you'll be fine.
Thanks very much for that, Jim. I hope that's useful. Okay, Jim, so fishing prospects. We've heard about the technology to find a fishable river.
Yep.
What species would you go for?
Well, end of the season, river's up. It's definitely going to be a big chub for me. Again, we've just been through the sort of how to look at the river gauges and that. And if you can find some time in this next couple of weeks where that river's just slightly dropping away and we haven't had rain for a couple of days, I'd say you've got to get yourselves out there, and there's going to be some big Thames chub to be caught.
Okay, £8 chub to end the season. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Yep.
Okay, so that's it from us for another month. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found it informative. Don't forget the Fisheries Forum on Thursday, March the 21st. And for the last few days that are left of the river season, tight lines to all of you.